Back to some more action here at the Kiev Major Qualifiers, coming to you live from LA at the Beyond the Summit studios. I'm ODPixel, I'm here with CC&C, and we're ready to take you through another game. The draft is underway. Elements Pro Gaming up against Team Secret. The draft has begun, and again, Secret doing something again that we're yet to see this qualifier, for at least in the games that I've seen. Opening with Bounty Hunter Ember Spirit. It's an interesting opener, CC&C.
Yeah, it's very, very aggressive heroes, very run at you. A lot of just like we see a hero, we track them, we just run in with Ember Spirit. The extra movement speed is kind of nice with like the remnants or whatever. It's like a small interaction, but yeah, it's Bounty Hunter's a hero that like Secret will run from time to time. It's sort of like a puppy classic. Even whenever the hero's not like super popular, which it really isn't like amazingly popular right now. We'll see it like every once in a while in some like Darkseer drafts or something. But other than that, it's definitely not a usual opening.
Is it still fine to make a Bounty Hunter strat work against a Slardar opener, or does the Slardar throw quite a bit of trouble the way of the bounty because of the amplifier?
I think it's fine for the Bounty Hunter. Slaughter, if he doesn't have a good start, if he doesn't like get off to a nice start in the landing stage, then that hero like quite often will just sort of retreat. He'll sit in a lane for 5 to 10 minutes and farm his Blink Dagger in like the mid game. And whenever you have this Bounty Hunter Ember Spirit that are just always running at you, you don't have time to sit back and farm it. And so it can sort of gimp this Slaughter a lot of times if he doesn't get off on the right foot.
Elements. And the second pick up the Rubik. They themselves, that Slardar Rubik first two picks, very much a very kind of safe opening, isn't it, for themselves? Really, it doesn't really tell too much about their draft, and you've got already a decent amount of catch to deal with the Ember and the Bounty, haven't you, with those two?
Yeah, I think so. Their lanes are a little bit weak. Rubik, Slaughter are not known for being like the strongest laners. We'll see if it's an offlane Slaughter for its 4.
I was going to say already, yeah. Would you prefer to not see that as the support duo? Those two heroes as a 4 and a 5.
I don't know if you want an offlane Slardar versus a Bounty Hunter.
Okay.
Because he's gonna like if you show up in the lane, then he's gonna camp you there, and you're not gonna get anything, and then you can't go to the jungle either because he's just gonna follow you. Then you fall super far behind, as you can't really do too much. I think Rubik is pretty decent for Ember. You can steal the Flame Shield, but you don't really have the most kill potential on him, obviously, because you don't there's not really a burst spell you're stealing from this Ember Spirit, and you can get brought down pretty easily with the chains. You can also steal the chain, so it's sort of like a double-sided matchup. You're a hero that's pretty easy to bring down with some random squishy support. So yeah, I don't think the Rubik is anything like too special. I think it's just a hero that they like, and it's one of those picks. It's like, we'll just pick a Rubik.
Let's see what Secret ban out. I mean, at the moment,
using a lot of time.
Spirit as well.
Dire team ban.
They used like a minute and a half of reserve time on that ban.
Yeah, there was a lot of thinking time.
I guess EG do have an Earth Spirit player. I forget who it is. One of them plays Earth Spirit. I know Mitch is known for playing Darkseer.
Yeah, is it not LeBron? No, he's there. No, I'm not too familiar which one. It would be. I do know that Mitch did play. Of course, in the last game, he played the Centaur, and obviously Elements did take that win against Prototype, so that is why Secret banned out the Centaur first, or at least one of the reasons. No, they've just seen that Elements are very strong with that hero.
10 seconds.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to ban out the Ogre as well. Like it's just some of these EU teams, they just really favor this Ogre. Just for the laning prowess it gives you, getting these heroes ahead early, and they just try and snowball. It's EU Dota. It's something we don't see a lot of the top teams do, and it doesn't really do it. I don't know if China does it or not. But it's a hero that for some reason these like tier 2, tier 3 EU teams really, really like this Ogre.
10 seconds remaining.
We'll see what else Secret do up to ban out
5 seconds remaining.
Elements. It's again going to be a joke, but very much these kind of safe vanilla-esque bans, just heroes that are very, very common at the moment in the meta. Nothing to really read too far into what they want to do. Elements, though, in return, very much kind of Secret targeted bans. The Keeper of the Light, I say Secret target, we're seeing a lot of teams play with that, but the Enigma and the Omni Knight, things that we have seen Secret run, and we know that Puppy is very confident with drafting. And now Secret
5
themselves.
seconds remaining.
I'll see where they want to go with this Ember Spirit Bounty Hunter opening. Is there
Wind Ranger at your service.
again a Wind Ranger pick? And when you've got an Ember already to get, that is very interesting and exciting to see. So, what is the plan with this Wind Ranger? What does this say to you with these opening two, having both an Ember and a Wind Ranger in your draft? Is it just going to be a safe lane Ember?
I mean, it's either safe lane Ember or mid Wind Ranger, or it's a 5 Wind Ranger.
Can that work with the bounty as the
Could also
4?
be an offlane Wind Ranger.
It could.
And we did talk about how Rubik is a pretty meh landing support.
Okay.
The Slaughter Crush is like, it's not that much damage, and they probably have issues with whatever safe laner against some Wind Ranger. Maybe also a little bit of a prediction pick, thinking like, hey, they want the Nakes, like 4th pick or something like that, the Lifestealer. Obviously pairs super well with the Slaughter. And Wind Ranger is a hero that can kind of just sit in the lane. That Lifestealer does basically nothing to. You've got almost an instant stun if you get a Blink Dagger at some point. Focus Fire can be nice if you get some damage items against him later on. Kind of a low armor hero. So potentially could be an offlane. And they just pick these like really strong laning heroes. These heroes that the Bounty Hunter can rotate to and like have kill potential. Because if the Bounty Hunter comes up the top with the Wind Ranger, the level 1 power shots, the 8 billion damage or whatever, they could pretty easily like punish these supports.
Yeah, I mean, it feels definitely, with the Slardar next, as you said, Elements would almost certainly be wanting to pick the lifesteal. Is that kind of Wind Ranger and Terrorblade reveal enough to just stop you picking the hero entirely?
Yeah, I don't think you ever pick a Nax into a Terrorblade.
Yeah.
Especially with a Bounty Hunter in the pool, you can just like they always just see where you're going, and so you can play around that. And if you're not getting these pickoffs, if you're not having a super good laning stage, then Terrorblade gets, the Mantiscati, and then it's just over.
Elements may have been thrown in a bit of a tricky situation as we see going right into this bonus time.
Are they going to take the Slark? Are they going to Swift ending Slark?
PA! I mean, I feel... we talked about the Lifestealer not being good. Is PA really that much better of a solution? I mean, surely he still suffers from similar issues against the Windbridge and the Terrorblade, unless he's hitting the crits and getting lucky.
It looks like a terrible PA game. It's pretty bad versus the Terrorblade, pretty bad versus the Wind Ranger.
I mean, he gets blown up by the Ember, doesn't he?
Yeah, blown up by Ember. You really don't like getting tracked on that hero because then people will just like kind of run away from you. The Shuriken is a decent amount of burst damage.
I mean, it's nice with the Slardar. It feels like maybe this is what Elements wanted to do, but you feel that maybe they're not thinking too much about how well Secret is prepared to deal with a pick like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did want the Lifestealer, and maybe they think the PA is a better...
It's better than the Lifestealer.
I think maybe it's better than the Lifestealer. I say that, but it's so bad versus Ember Spirit. There are a whole lot of single target, and there are a lot of single target versus a Terrorblade and versus lane. Okay, so they do. All right, it's mid. I knew they were gonna pick Slark. It's Swift ending Slark. All right, so it's
whoa, and then instantly they were not hesitating their Secret.
Oh boy.
I mean, you said the Swift ending Slark is something that we know that Elements are good at. Do you think Secret knew that the Slark was coming? They were like, all right.
I think they were fine with the Slark.
Yeah. So the Broodmother final pick. And it is indeed, by the looks of it, going to be that position 5 or 4 Wind Ranger.
Either a 5 or 4 Bounty Hunter. We'll see which one ends up being. I think that it may be pretty flexible. I don't think it matters too much.
Kind of on a similar level in terms of what they're going to get done. But very interesting finisher from Secret. I mean, it feels like Secret had the more confident draft. Like they knew what they were going to do with that final pickup. But the question is, can Elements make it work? PA and Slark, their last 2.
I think they're like very all in on this, like just picking heroes off all over the map.
Amplify and the
PA
jumping
the PA, Nyx, Slardar. It's a lot of single target damage. It's a lot of pick off, but I feel like whenever your lanes are gonna do as badly as they are, Ember is favored against the PA. This Broodmother is gonna have a very nice time top, I think. Actually, I don't know how nice of a time he will have, to be honest. I think Slark is one of the better carries against the Brood.
Okay.
And I think if you give the Slark a decent start, he can actually solo, not too badly. Against the Brood, you give him like level 2, level 3, and you give him a Sentry in the lane, I think he could do okay.
And of course, they are going to get to that point as well, EPG, but they do have the Slardar. They've got means of hunting down the Broodmother.
Yeah, for sure. I I think sort of the only problem is they really just don't have the greatest of means to deal with this Terrorblade. You know, the Slark is known for being a pretty good carry against the Terrorblade, and they have a lot of stuns for sure, but it's a lot of single target stuns.
30 seconds.
It's
to
you know, it's just all of this like single target focus, and whenever you have heroes like that, there's this innate risk of if you're not killing that hero, if you're not blowing up one hero at the start of a fight, then things can turn very, very grim very quickly. They really don't have great lane pushers. They have like there are 3 heroes that all just kind of want to run it heroes. Slark wants to be up the map. Rubik is really the only hero that is like okay with being in lanes and pushing them out. So, you know, they also have this bounty hunter to scout it out. So I feel like this bounty, even though it was first pick, ends up being very, very good against this style that EPG are wanting to play.
I mean, that really is the thing, you know, EPG, how are they taking towers with this lineup?
Yeah, they really just need to kill heroes.
They just got to get those kills, haven't they? They really have, but as we kind of mentioned in the draft, Secret have very good means of killing the lineup of EPG.
Yeah, they can maybe take this top tower if they give the Slark a decent start, and then they like wrap the Slaughter and the Rubik around behind the tower. If they pushed it in, they maybe kill the Brood that way, but it's really tricky because it's a Brood. It's not some normal offlaner. She's going to be off in the trees, farming jungle camps. And starting up these 2 heroes up here, they're going to punish the Slark so much. He doesn't have the Poor Shield yet. Actually bought the Quelling Blade at the side shop, so it's going to take him a couple of waves to get up to that Poor Shield, and he may get punished until he gets up to that.
Poppy just trading blows at the moment. Now going to bring in Pi as well. Goes for the first power shot. And Secret running with the 3 of them up top, going head-to-head with the tri-lane of EPG at the moment. And that will leave the other lanes to the straight 1v1. Mid 1 on the Ember Spirit up against Gogi on his PA, and down on the bottom lane. MP against Mitch and Secret playing around with LeBron. LeBron set the crush onto Puppy, but Puppy feeling very safe and confident, coming in close and personal with the supports of EPG, harassing them back. So, I mean, now this lane situation has started to settle down like this. Is this fine for Secret, you feel, leaving the Terrorblade on his own against the Nyx Assassin? MP is going to have a fine time, or can the Nyx cause some issues?
No, I think he'll do absolutely fine there. Once he gets the Poor Shield, has the Quelling Blade, they'll just trade farm. And I think at some point, once the Terrorblade maybe like level 4, level 5, the Bounty Hunter can potentially rotate down here. They can try and kill this Nyx Assassin and take his tower. As EPG's heroes is sort of another thing. Rubik is really their only tower defense, but he's pretty committed up to this top lane. He's helping out the Slark and dealing with these multiple heroes. So if the Bounty Hunter makes a smart rotation down the bottom, once he gets some levels, they can maybe kill this Nyx and then take the bottom tower and open up the map for the Terrorblade to farm.
It's this mid lane, mid 1, getting very aggressive, knowing that it's unlikely that EPG sending any backup with the pressure that the rest of his side's putting on up top. And already the mid lane CS, 14 for 2, 7 for 0. Ember Spirit certainly having the favourable time in this 1v1.
Yeah, he is, you know, Ember loves just having these matchups where it's melee versus melee, because, you know, obviously, if you can't break his Flame Guard and you're melee, then you're going to have a real hard time dealing with him constantly just walking up to you and popping the Flame Guard. And now that he's level 4, has the 2 points in chains, this PA can definitely die, as I don't think you can use Phantom Strike whenever you're chained. So you're kind of just stuck there, you get burnt down, and then by that time your wave has just started, you know, it's not behind you, it's like right next to you. So you're not really blinking away. And I think mid 1 very happy with the lane, especially, you know, kind of on his tail. It's going to push back out, so I don't think it'll be the worst thing in the world for Gogi. He can last it with the daggers if worst comes to worst, as he does get that one there. But yeah, I think mid 1 very, very happy with this. And it's not the greatest Ember game as far as just like hero versus hero matchups wise. Okay. You know, they do have the Nyx, they have Slaughter, they have Rubik, they have a fair amount of disables for him, but I think the bigger thing is that the cores just really don't touch this Ember Spirit. It's more the supports doing well, but they're not having a good game, so.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Puppy as well at the moment on this bounty early on, what is them? Does he have to find himself involvement in kills, or is he fine just kind of playing getting the vision, eventually getting the 6, or does Secret need to up the pace early on this game?
I think as long as he's like securing farm for his cores, as long as he's keeping heroes in place, is just being a nuisance, letting his cores get these 1v1s. You can see MP doing very, very well down bottom, up like 7 CS. With mid 1 having a great time mid, Keizu doing great up top. I think that's like all Puppy needs to do. These heroes have a nice time, and he may even try and snipe the courier here. I think actually loses vision of it just barely, but yeah, keeping the supports pinned up there. They're both only level 1 on both the supports at 4 minutes. It's like, it's quite grim, and if they don't have the kind of levels that they need, they don't have level 3, level 4, then this Brood is just kind of unkillable, and it's going to be a massive nuisance.
On mid lane, trying to make a bit of a go here onto Gogi. They've got Pi coming across as well. James is going to connect. I'm going to find him with the shackle shot though, as Gogi will be able to get himself back to safety. Has the presence of Cole in the neighborhood as well in case things get a little too nasty. And also LeBron heading across. Just prepared for any sort of action. Just trying to mirror the movements of Secret's duo supports. And make sure that they don't cause too many issues for their own cause on the side of Elements Pro Gaming.
Yeah, take DD there. Maybe trying to get a stun on him.
LeBron was actually allowed to find the DD, and with that, yeah,
dead.
Mid1 in a lot of trouble, and he's gone first blood for Elements, despite the pressure that Secret's been putting on. And Gogi is going to be over the moon with that one.
Yeah, his chains weren't cool enough for 1 second, so wasn't able to change the Slardar whenever he was running up. It was just barely. I'm sure he was slamming his Q key, but just barely gets the stun off, and Mid1 goes down. It's definitely the kind of stuff they need. They need to find these kills. Unfortunate scenarios where just the spell wasn't cool enough for just a little bit. They get this pick-me-up kill, and it puts PA a little bit ahead, Ember a little bit behind. They really need stuff like that because the Slark he's getting some farm up top, but it's
Yeah,
not
I was going to say. You know, despite the pressure, I mean, it's not the best farm, it's not free farm, but they didn't really shut him down, it doesn't feel like. You know, 28 CS, he's only a few behind, you know, half a wave or so behind MP. And MP had a very kind of undisturbed lane, only Mitch in the neighborhood, no support rotations whatsoever. So, all things considered, this isn't too bad for Swift, is it?
No, not at all. And, you know, Slark is one of the better heroes versus the Brood. Once you have the Shadow Blade, you can start hunting through the jungle. You get your team to buy you a gem, although the support's maybe a little hard-pressed to build up that amount of gold. But once you get the gem, you get the Shadow Blade, you just start running through your jungle all the time. And it's, you know, just free kills on this Brood. Doesn't really build any HP items for quite some time, except unless she goes for, like, the Echo Saber build, which we'll see what she goes for. But, yeah, the Slark has a very nice time versus the Brood. And it's a pretty nice Slark game in general. Can be rough versus Ember if you're behind, as you can't really man fight him. But if you get to that point where you have the Basher, you have the BKB, and you can sit there and man fight the Ember, it can actually turn it to Slark's favor.
We've got Pi sitting down here on this bomb lane. Just there to back up MP. He knows that there are members of the map of EPG, and EPG actually going to make a go here. They're going to bring in the PA. Shackle Shot's going to do absolutely nothing, and EPG, with the lockdown, take down MP. I have to say, this is EPG certainly using the tools that they have to massive effect at the moment. 2 kills on the board, and Secret, they were able to secure the farm in lanes, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily feel like they were able to do enough in terms of shutting down heroes. Swift ending could be in trouble top. He's going to pounce out, has a TP at the ready. Puppy is hunting for him. Swift ending not even going to need to TP out as the backup comes through from LeBron. And again, Secret unable to find a kill there.
Yeah, I think this top tower not being taken yet is pretty huge for EPG. As I say, that MP TP's up here, so this tower is definitely going down. 3 points in the meta, 4 points of Conjure Image. May not even need to use the Metamorphosis. But yeah, I think keeping that top tower alive for as long as they did is very, very nice for the for Slark. And just for EPG in general, it forces this Brood to continue to be up here. But I think taking this tower now, MP is going to have a lot of space around on this side, while Highlight gets this farm bottom, so it was kind of low on levels because they were pressuring top in sort of a tri-lane scenario. So now it can come down to bottom, get up a little bit more levels, maybe get up to that Solar Crest at a reasonable time, which I think is really, really good for Windranger this game.
Mitch immediately was looking for a bit of action there. Unfortunate that they popped the dust. They saw the illusion we were being taken, and they saw the illusions, but already Puppy was well out of the way, back to safety, out of harm's way. Top lane MP, as you mentioned, didn't use the Metamorphosis for the first half, but certainly Puppy to put a bit of harassment onto the second. Elements will react though. They have 4 members up here. Mitch, Vendetta of course still on cooldown after that last bit of a movement mid. And it's pretty hard for them to jump into anything, so he'll TP to the mid lane, make sure that Gogi isn't chased down by any of the members of Secret, as Puppy just continues to try and maintain vision of the presence of the players of Elements. And MP feeling confident with the backup of Kezu, sticking on this top lane, and with a large spider army trying their best to bring down this tier 2, and Elements are suffering to stop this sort of a push.
Yeah, I think this is a super good rotation from Secret. They're forcing a whole lot of heroes from EPG up here. It's very selfless play. MP not just sitting bottom, focusing on his own farm will give Pilot Ice some space, so it goes from level 3 to level 5 now, probably working towards, you know, phase boots or Just getting a wand, getting range up, getting these small items is really, really nice. Just for quality of life with the supports. Mid one getting free farm.
Look at this puppy, the courier hunter. He's only gone and found it. It was hiding in the tree line there. I mean, they did have an observer ward just round the corner. I don't know if it necessarily came across that path or maybe past this one, and he didn't see it move any further. But he knew they were hiding it there, and he found it and he took it down.
Yeah, so he gives him some nice XP as he was only like level 3 at the time, so not going to be the fastest track, but they do end up bringing down the Brood. So, oh goodness.
Those fade bolt bounces there. Going on forever. And indeed, the Spider's taking him down in return. Bottom lane, they did end up getting the kill onto the slider. Mid one moved in. And Pi, the shackle, enough control and lockdown to allow that burning flame guard to bring him out. So Secret getting themselves a couple of kills on the map. Mid lane, Gogi going in very heavily onto Secret here behind the tower. He's going to have to start to back up. TP's coming through. But not actually going to be punished for that one at all. Gogi, knowing that he had the space and place to go in hard hitting. Didn't find the kill, but certainly put a shiver down Puppy's spine.
Yeah, just pressuring a little bit, doing whatever he can. It's kind of hard for him to do anything after those initial rotations. They did get some kills, and the PA had a better start than I think we expected, but
oh yeah, for sure.
Still not really in a position where he can do so much. They're kind of just waiting for this Slark Shadowblade, and then they can eventually go around and make things happen, make space for the rest of his team, make space for the Slaughter to get up to his Blink Dagger, I think is kind of what they're waiting for. Until that point, they kind of have a hard time doing anything. And the Terrorblade's Metamorphosis is up, so we'll see if they make a move for that or if they just want to farm until the Dragonlance on the Terrorblade or what they're waiting for. Mid one actually went for the Boots of Travel first, which I think is really good this game. It allows him to be like he is right now, like play down in bottom lane, play more of this role where he can keep the lanes out and then beat with the team if need be.
Getting solo kills as well, and in fact not just the one. Remnant's forward with the chains. He gets a second. Mid one. And entirely outplaying their LeBron and Mitch as the two of them moved in on him to try and make a kill happen. But mid one just turns it around beautifully, and at the same time Secret not only taking the tier 1 in the mid lane, ready to put on pressure onto the tier 2. So top lane, Swift. He'll find playing around Puppy. He has nearly got that Shadow Blade, and as you said, that could be the thing to really have them skyrocketing kills. But mid lane again, they've lost the Rubik. Pi, I don't think he can. It's going to have enough. He's a level 4 power shot. He is going to try for it, and ooh, it's close. Not quite close enough. Not quite enough damage to take it. But the space is there. Secret, they get another tier 2. Actually, they've lost the creeps, and they've lost Pile I Die. They're trying their best to finish, because they're not going to be able to do it. They don't have the damage. As backdoor regeneration kicks in, that's allowing EPG to fight around the tower, get themselves a double kill for Gogi, and also deny the tower. So, off the back of kind of a good bit of momentum for Secret, suddenly fortune turns in EPG's favor.
Yeah, I don't think they're too sad about that, though. At the very least, they get this tier 2 tower down, and a tier 2 falling at 12 minutes, is, especially the mid one, is
for
absolutely
sure,
massive. Makes it very, very difficult for them to move around the map. And gives Secret, it lets his bounty hunters scout even deeper, get even deeper wards much more easily. Mid one actually going into the Maelstrom now instead of.
That's interesting, yeah. So skipping the Veil in favor of that. Do you imagine he will go back for the Veil, or?
I don't think so. I don't think it's particularly good this game. The armor is nice for sure versus Slaughter and the PA, but it's not a game where you just want to walk around as 5 with your team. You have heroes that kind of want to be together. You have this, the Terrorblade, the Wind Ranger, the Brood. They're all gonna sort of be in these stationary places. So you want this more mobile hero in the Ember that can actually get around and do things. You're not just this 5-man lineup. You're not gonna just walk down lanes. You aren't gonna be constantly fighting with the Veil. So it gets the Aquila instead for some of that armor. Is kind of nice. Gives them the mana regen. And it's a build we've seen a lot of the Chinese players start going for, is just not skipping the Veil and then going straight into this Maelstrom. You farm very, very fast getting the Maelstrom this early on with the Slight, and it also just gives you a ton of damage. So I think it's quite good this game, makes them a lot more mobile.
Oh, Mitch and Swift ending on the hunt. Secret to have a few members about, but Gogi turning up as well, has the Desolator complete immediately with a stun. The catch out from Mitch and Swift. They'll take down the Ember. Swift now looking towards MP, and they're only going to go find that one as well. The crit comes through as they'll take him down. They will end up losing the PA as Puppy picks him off on the way back out. A good shackle shot from Pi holding back the two of them. Same time up. Wow, where was Kezu? In the mid lane actually finds the Rubik. So it ends up being a 2 for 2. Obviously EPG will still be the happier as they take down both of the cores of Secret.
Yeah, I think this this Terrorblade continuing to fall like this is giving a glimmer of hope to EPG. Thought originally at the draft there was just no way they could really take this game with all these just random single target heroes, a lot of gankers, very very one-dimensional. But they've been getting the kills. They've been finding the things they need to. And MP going down 3 times already. Only has the Dragon Lance and working towards that Yasha, so not really in this position where you're a Terrorblade, you just walk up to the buildings, they can't touch you, and you just kill everything. They start getting a couple of pick-me-up kills here and there. Now has the Oblivion Staff on top of the Shadow Blade, despite getting tri-laned early on, which typically as a Slark you think of as just the nail in the coffin.
Yep.
But has the gem now as well that we talked about, so he's going to go hunting for Kezu.
Yeah, and getting a gem this timing on Slark as well, you're going to be able to get some really strong control of the map, aren't you? I mean, Secret do have ways of catching him. That's for sure.
Oh.
But if he can get the edge, and he can get the kills, he'll be
He knows. I think he saw him, barely.
Yeah, we'll be able to pick up a nice bit of Spider Gold there, though, the two of them, Swift, Ending, and Cole, as they clean that out. Same time, though, Secret are grouping up a support. We'll look to take the tier 2. Can EPG find this one? LeBron heading forward, immediately changed up. Ripped to pieces from Pi as the Shackle and the Power Shot come in. And another TP and a Fortification coming from EPG. They're going to try their best to hold this one off. Mitch with the stun. Midwood immediately on the back line is bursting down Cole, taking down Kogi, gets the tower as well. EPG, they've lost 3, and maybe even more. With a Shackle shot like that, Pi finds Mitch. In comes the Shuriken. Mid1 picks up a triple. And despite EPG's best efforts to hold, they end up giving Mid1 a triple kill. And gets the tower gold as well, so Mid1 shooting himself straight up to the top of the board. 9.4k net worth at the moment on this Ember.
Yeah, and actually going for an early Shivas.
Interesting build from him.
Yeah, he's really mixing things up, and he's a player that isn't really afraid to change builds up to go for something a little bit unorthodox that suits the game.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think picking up this plate mail is super good in this game. They're like almost all physical damage, they're almost all single target. The Shivas is very good versus these heroes that don't typically build a lot of attack speed. The PA, the Slark, they'll build attack speed a little bit later as the game goes on, but a lot more right now just about these, quick few attacks to try and burst the hero. But even just this casual plate mail increases his tankiness so much, and lets him play, like, continually just jumping in the middle of heroes and not get bursted down like we saw at the 2-2.
Oh, Swift. He has found Kezu, but Kezu actually just happily skips himself over the walls of the Roche pit and back out of harm's way. And very shortly, those sort of movements aren't going to work at all, because Kezu, he's very close to having the money for the BKB. And once he has that, it's going to be very hard for the Slark to solo kill him. LeBron tracked up, chased down. Mid1 comes in with the chains. An attempt to hold the back as Mitch throws out the stun, but it's not enough. Puppey saved by MP there with the Sunder. Puppey will still go down though. A loser 1-for-1. MP, his best efforts there to save his captain. Nearly put his own life in danger. Doesn't end up paying off though. But EPG, the 1-1 trade there.
Yeah, they still, they didn't use the Metamorphosis in that fight. I'm not sure if it was not up or if they just didn't want to pop it, but only has the Yashi. Still kind of wants to chill and farm a little bit on this Terrorblade. Mid1, a super dominant position, and after, oh wow, nice Shackle.
And in fact, with the setup, the follow through from Mid1, they're only going to go and get themselves a kill there. Highlight Eye, certainly making it work. I mean, we saw him get that lane. That's helped him catch up to a good position. Is going to be going the Midas as well. So he'll scale up very nicely with that Midas Gold and XP, and of course the track gold as well if they can get themselves finding more kills as the game progresses. And EPG being forced back here, Secret trying to maintain good control around the Roche pit. And pretty crucial they do so, I guess, as well, but with the Slardar and the PA, there's definitely potential for EPG to make short work of that Roche pit, and Secret realize that.
Yeah, that's definitely a way for them back into this game.
Yeah.
And I think this game starts getting hard for EPG because they lost all these towers early on. Slark is typically known as a good hero versus the Terrorblade because you hold your towers up, and then he's this hero that you really don't want to push to these towers whenever you don't have vision. And so there's this Slark is at nighttime, you can see everything, you know which heroes to jump. And
Mid1 there, with the Spidey senses. EPG weren't moving fully in there with a 4-man smoke rotation. So he gets himself out of harm's way. Kezu, of course, now has that completed BKB, so he is going to feel a lot more confident going out across the map against this Slark, and it still maintains that Shadow Blade and Gem. And in fact, talking about the guy, they've got eyes on him at the moment. Puppey, the track, and they blow him up.
They really don't want to lose that Gem.
Yeah, they've got to keep Swift safe. And he's feeling fairly safe. As we saw there, in terms of catch, they don't have the best. You know, most of the time Swift ending, unless he gets caught out by a perfect shackle shot in between dart packs, he should be able to play his way out of any movement from Secret.
Yeah, I think sort of the issue is that he can't really make moves into Secret very well either.
He can't play anything offensive,
Yeah, so he can sort of go around the map, he can split lanes, get up to whatever items he can. And I think when he gets the Silver Edge as well as the BKB, he'll be in a pretty good position to fight. He kind of wants a basher as well. Like it's definitely a game where Slark can thrive when he starts getting his items online. And Swift Ending, probably considered one of the best Slark players in EU. He's played Zero for a long time. It's definitely his best hero. So very well versed on him. Yeah, picks up the Silver Edge now. This sort of becomes the issue though whenever you lose all your towers this early on. You verse an Ember Spirit, you verse a Winter Ninja who can push out these lanes with basically no risk. You start losing map control, and then so you can take objectives with absolutely no trade-off.
Puppey now with the Solar Crest complete, so really getting the tools together to allow MPs to stand on that upper ground and be beefed up by his backline supports.
Yeah, full Shiva's on mid one now as well, so he is so far.
Yeah, he's having an insane game on the Ember. Definitely one of his heroes that you can expect to see such performances, and we're certainly getting one this game. I guess the question really is just where does he go next? Are we going to see anything else a little bit interesting? Do you think, does he just upgrade the Maelstrom? Anything else you'd like to see? Are we going to get a Blink picked up?
I think a Blink would be fine. I think he may end up going for a Blink. I don't think there's any item that's particularly amazing this game. It's still possible for him to go down. The Octarine feels a little off here. It doesn't feel like it would do so much. The HP is kind of nice, but it's you kind of just want to be able to get on top of them. So I think he may end up actually going for the Blink Dagger. We'll have to see. I don't think any item particularly makes him that much stronger. I think he's extremely strong right now, and is like very, very down to fight. And I don't think any item will like actually increase how strong he is by that big of a margin. And I also don't think he's going to get that much weaker for quite some time to come.
No, he's definitely going to have that advantage for quite some time. Swift Ending, actually, interesting enough, he's queued up the Lincoln Sphere. So, I mean, obviously once he gets that, he is going to be even harder to deal with in terms of killing, but it's still going to prolong the time until he's actually able to be that much of a scary threat himself, surely. Going there for this defensive sort of build, statting up and lacking control and damage.
Yeah, it's a little bit unusual. Most Slarks we see, if they're going to go for Lincolns, they will skip the Echo Saber, and they'll just go straight to the Silver Edge and then to the Lincolns afterwards, because whenever you go for that, the Echo Saber and the Lincolns, like you said, it's a lot of just tanky items that they both sort of give you the same thing. It's stats, it's mana regen, and it gets a little bit redundant. So we'll see if he completes it or if he just has it as quick buy.
I guess it kind of works because they have the PA being the big damage dealer, but as I say that, the PA is not going to be dealing any damage from the grave. He's down for 50. Mid one, just diving past the tier 3. Swift Ending trying to come forward. Pops the Shadow Dance, but he immediately has to get out of there. And just like that, I mean, Fortification will come through, but I think at the least, Elements may just lose a Rax off the back of that. Yeah, Metamorphosis is up and Secret are ready to push.
Yeah, the PA is still down for 30 seconds. There's no way they can fight into this. Whenever Secret gets set up, they just can't do anything.
And this is looking to all fall apart for Elements. Just like that. I mean, track kill after track kill. It's not going to get pretty for the financial situation here of the side of Elements. The Secret, it felt like sort of a slow start for Secret. It certainly felt like they were starting to gain that momentum, that edge. But bam, certainly just like that, it all comes together. And EPG, they just don't seem to have an answer. They've lost one Rax. They're on the verge of losing a second, and they're losing hero after hero. Oh, but they make it the Ember, they do. He's got the Aegis though. We'll be back from round 2. Gogi pops the BKB. Trying to look to finish off Kezu, but Kezu life steals up. Is it going to be enough? Again, MP with these defensive Sunders. Saving the Spider. Mid one, remnants away from the aggressive movement from Swift ending. As Secret have ended the game. It feels like very, very shortly and quickly. Just like that. Buyback will come out from Swift. But they've lost 2 racks. Raindrops are being dropped on the ground. The tears of Elements Gaming left in the base. As they will hold on. They'll keep themselves in. But only just. This game has very drastically gone out of control for Elements.
I think Elements, with the draft they had, they kind of did what they needed to do. They gave Swift Ending a pretty decent lane. He got that early gem. They weren't actually able to kill the Brood. Only has the 1 death. But this Blink Dagger just came online too late. You've got a Slaughter, you have a Nyx, you have a P. Like, they have so many heroes that all just sort of do the same thing. I think Seeker just a much more well-rounded lineup, and mid one actually going for the BKB.
Alright, so no messing really.
Yeah, so basically it makes him unkillable.
Yep.
Any HP item would be nice. He maybe survive for a little bit longer, but if he gets jumped by the Slaughter and the PA, can still die within the duration of a crush, possibly if he gets a crit or 2. So BKB makes it where he can just basically can't die with the armor as well. And they're not messing around. Like you said, they're just gonna go end the game. It looks like.
Yeah, they're ready to go for another push up top. I mean, we saw what in that last. How many buybacks we used? It was just the 2. Okay. So, but it was, yeah, Swift Ending's been the key one that did come out in that fight. And here we go. EPG, they've had trouble slowing this down twice.
Oh.
Can they do it a 3rd time? Good stun on to mid one, gets the BKB out. Again, MP! Pretty much just been the Sun Machine on the back lines. The mech comes through. In fact, MP's out. He's down. He'll get bursted down by a Fate Bolt. So they have lost the Terrorblade. That is a large part of Secret's push. And in fact, EPG may get more. They get the stun onto Ember Spirit. Mid one down. That's a gem dropping onto the decks as well. As a lot of money goes the way of Gogi with that pickoff. And Secret, they're losing more. The Amplify in the stun, the control onto Kezu. Kill after kill after kill. Can they? They can't get the extra, surely. Pi out just in time. LeBron did come searching. Couldn't quite get there in time. Elements. Against the Elements, they hold out. They hold on that top defense. Get some big kills, some big cash influx.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy for mid one. Just dives way behind the tower. Didn't actually get the latch, and then immediately the Nyx jumps in. Yeah. Carapaces him, and the Rubik actually making a huge play, stole the Remnant, then triple Remnanted on the Terrorblade and nuked him after he had sundered his teammates.
Yeah, I mean, we see MP, he's consistently just trying to save his teammates, and
yeah,
most of the times it's paid off, but that time it left him in a bit of a precarious position.
Yeah, and I think they thought they could maybe turn it around if he had swapped HPs with the Ember Spirit. They can maybe fight there, but instead they lose 3 cores, and EPG, they hold the high ground. Slowly working towards that next set of items, but I don't know how much that next set of items will actually do for EPG. They kind of just need to do that again. They need Secret to get a little over aggressive, kind of throw at the high ground out of that, or they find some pickoffs around the map. So we'll see. Swift Ending maybe skirt through the jungle, try and find some solo heroes. He does have the gem.
I like the decision as well from Swift to go for the BKB instead of the Lincolns. It just feels like a better game for the BKB, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Just not the Ember not being able to just drop the triple Remnant while you're ultied is super nice. It's just so much damage. It'll block like the track or something, but that's not really something you care about all that much. You're purging it off the Dark Pack. Getting a BKB does basically the same thing, and this is sort of a game where as EPG you kind of need to just full commit to these fights. You need to find an opportunity, and everybody just goes in and you just commit, because you're not really playing in and out with an Ember Spirit who's going to be rooting you. The Terrorblade's going to be consistently just dishing out right clicks. And if you're not killing them, very, very quickly, then you'll kind of have issues. Whereas Linkens is more of an item for these long, drawn-out fights where you want to dodge specific spells consistently, be this hero that's hard to lock down.
Oh, and saying that, he says screw the BKB and picks up the Diffusal.
Can purge Windrun?
You can purge, what, the Flame God?
Yeah, and Windrun.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting choice. I mean, that does give you a bit of the damage and a bit of the control that we talked about. They have a Basher now on Gogi as well.
I think that may be necessary. I think they realize that if Secret plays this game safe and they just push.
Oh, smoke dispelled.
That's such a good position from everyone.
Yep. Enya just sitting there, and Secret may want to fight this. One track out. Jackal not to latch. Kezu immediately rips to pieces the Rubik. Gogi in trouble. He's BKB. He's trying to get his way out of this, but the chase down is there. Swift endings down and out. 3 dead on EPG, and that's not going to be the end of the casualties. They'll move on for another triple kill for Kezu. GG is called, and there was maybe small hopes for EPG to pull off one last defense there with the Bastion, the defusal picked up, but it wasn't enough at the end of the day against how much Secret had amounted to earlier on. The amount of damage they got done with that initial push onto the bottom and mid lane racks. It was always going to be a very, very difficult game for Elements to come back from, and Secret we're not going to let any chances of that happening, as we saw with that close off of the game.
Yeah, that top lane push, probably just a little bit of a fluke, getting over aggressive, thinking the game was over, they were going to call it GG, they could just dive in, do whatever. Lose a couple of heroes, but in the end, they sober up, and they go as 5, mid one with a nice smoke break, and then, you know, Elements, they just didn't really have the damage. They were so far behind on net worth. It's just, there's just no way they could take these fights whenever you're down 3 items on every hero.
And it certainly feels like, though, in the very early stages of the lane, Elements did better than we maybe thought that they would do with the draft, but as the game went on, the issues that we felt were going to become apparent certainly did with the heroes that they picked up. And, you know, Secret having some very, very strong start performances on their players. You know, mid one had an incredible game on the Ember Spirit. You know, damage done 24,000, easily the most on his team, nearly as much as the rest of the team put together. In fact, I think the rest of the team come into about 27k if I do some quick EU maths, but 24, yeah, mid one doing an incredible amount there. Kezu had a very good game as well. You know, very much a player that's scrutinized a lot, put under the spotlight when Team Secret's performance is considered. But he's shown us he knows how to brood mother. 7-2-4, very, very impressive net worth. It was a good draft and something a little bit different again from Secret. They make the Wind Ranger support work, something that we very unlikely to see other teams doing.
Yeah, I think a couple teams have been trying it out, but the Bounty Hunter first pick into the Ember Spirit, you know, it's these things like that sort of just take you aback, and you know, these less experienced teams that are really, you know, these heroes you don't see all the time, they're not used to playing against in pubs, you just sort of don't really know what to deal with it. You see this Bounty Hunter, you just what's their plan, you know? They feel like there's this mastermind on the other team that's picking these weird heroes. It's like everybody playing against Wings at TI6.
Yeah, you don't have a plan for that. And Elements, they had a plan, but they didn't have a plan for what Secret brought.
If that was going to work.
They did not. They did not. So Secret, of course, in terms of wins, they're still in a pretty good position, aren't they?
Yeah, that makes them
3-1. 4-1? Oh no, this was the 3-1.
That was the 3-1 game, I think so.
So a lot of teams at the moment on 3-1. Pretty much just me and you are saying the kind of the top 5: Bears, Alliance, Ninjas in Pajamas, Cloud9, and Secret seeming to be the top contenders. Elements, though, I believe they were also 2-1 after the last game, so they themselves are very close to coming in. Everyone else has got at least 2 losses. So a little bit of a rougher situation as the top spots being highly contested here in these EU qualifiers. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Secret versus Elements Pro Gaming, that is it for this game from myself and CC&C. I believe next up will be yourself, CC&C, once again with Toby. Cloud9 versus Bears. That should be a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then Alliance versus Bears. And
Bears Toads.
It's going to be a great way to finish off the EU qualifiers, and the way that Alliance has been playing today, that certainly is also going to be a series that's going to be very close and very interesting. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. CC&C will be back with Toby for a bit of a Bears finale here on the EU qualifier stream. We'll see you about.